Hey everybody, welcome to Country Girl. Tonight I am going to be making a lemon pound cake from scratch. Tomorrow is my boss's birthday and I usually make the lemon pound cakes for people's birthday at my work. It's a favorite. I have made chocolate cakes in the past, but this one is one that everybody always seems to request. It is about 11 o'clock or maybe a little after at night, and I usually don't like to start making something like this late. It's not very hard, it's just time consuming, but with a pound cake, for any of you bakers out there, you know that your ingredients have to be room temperature. And I did not think to have my girls lay the stuff out when they got home from school, so they didn't get put out in time for me to get this done any earlier. Anyway, I'm going to go over the ingredients that you're going to need for this cake, and then we will start with the instructions and everything on how to do this. I will also put a link down below to the website where I actually got this recipe. I would love to claim this as my own, but it is not. But it is a good one, and I have had very much success in making this and have gotten the most compliments ever on this cake. So I hope you enjoy, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so here are the ingredients that you're going to need to make the lemon pound cake. You're going to need some salt, some flour, just make sure it's all-purpose. I do have the unbleached, but you just need all-purpose. You don't have to have it unbleached. You also need some vanilla extract. You're going to need a 8-ounce package of cream cheese. You're going to need some sugar, 2 lemons. I have 3 here just because I like to have an extra one in case something happens. And then you're going to need to get 3 sticks of butter. And the recipe calls for 6 eggs, but because these eggs are so huge, I actually eliminated one of them for the recipe. So now we're going to get all this put together and start with the cake. Okay, so I went ahead and took out the appliances and stuff that I was going to need to make this cake. And first and foremost, you are going to need a mixing bowl. If you are using a KitchenAid, you will already have your mixing bowl. But just to let you know, I have a KitchenAid and I do not use it to make this cake. Reason being is because I'm just not good at KitchenAids. I just got one, and the timing and the speed on those are so much different than your traditional hand mixer. And I haven't baked long enough and practiced enough with a KitchenAid in order to be able to get this cake right with that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I made 2 cakes with my KitchenAid and screwed both of them up. And because these cakes are so expensive to make, and I would say if you're going to average the cost, you're anywhere from $13 to $15 in ingredients making these cakes. And it does take a long time. So when you go through all this to make a cake and then it comes out and is messed up, it's not a happy moment. So after the second cake that I made with my KitchenAid that did not turn out the way I wanted it to, I decided that I was just going to go back to the traditional way I used to make them, because I never ever had a cake turn out bad when I used my hand mixer. So if you're going to use your KitchenAid, I'm going to just assume that you know how to work it, you know how to do the timing and stuff like that. All you need is just the ingredients and the order and all that stuff. And if you got a KitchenAid, you probably already know how to make these cakes anyway. But anyway, so I got my mixing bowl. I do have my hand mixer. I've got this is like a, I guess it's like a little colander, but I use it as a sifter to sift my flour and stuff with. And then this is the cake, or the, I don't know what you call it. What do you call this thing? Cake pan or whatever. It's just, sorry, it's late and I'm tired. When I got this is, I think, by Nordic Ware, and it's like aluminum. And when I got it, of course it was coated. All the coating was completely on it. The coating is kind of wore off in the middle, as you can see. And because of this, I wanted to get me a different one. So I tried to find some, couldn't find it. Bought me an Angel food cake pan, and that was also about the same time I was trying to use my KitchenAid. And I don't know if the pan I used along with the KitchenAid is what messed up my cake or what. But I just think there's just so many different elements when you're making these cakes that can make or break your pound cake. I've actually read where so many people have had issues and just say they can't make a pound cake. They just can't. It won't work. I think maybe the aluminum on this has a lot to do with it. The other one was aluminum too, but it was the Teflon coating. I don't really know. All I know is when I use this, I make great pound cakes. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm sorry to be so chatty in this, but anyway, I coat this very well, and by coating this, you know, I don't have to worry about this. This stuff doesn't actually chip off into my cake, in case anybody is wondering. When it's come off, it's usually come off in the dishwasher or by me washing it in the sink. So anyway, mine's coated enough to where when I dump this out, nobody has to worry about getting whatever it is on there. But I went back to what I know works, and so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my cream cheese and put it into my mixing bowl. And you want your cream cheese, your butter, and your eggs to all be room temperature. So you're just going to have to plan ahead when you make these cakes and make sure that you lay it out in plenty of time for this to happen. If it's a weekend, probably isn't that big of an issue, but like me, I'm gone all during the day. So if I don't think to have someone come home and lay it out for me, I end up cooking these things late at night, which is the case right now. So anyway, I'm going to put that into my pan or my bowl. I'm going to put all of my sticks of butter, and I'm just letting these drop out of the paper. Alright, now I'm going to just beat this with, well, it might help if I plug it in, right? So I'm going to beat the eggs, the cream cheese, and the butter together until I get it nice and mixed up. Alright, so this is what it looks like once I get this all nice and creamed up. And now I'm going to add my eggs, and I am going to add those one at a time. This step is extremely important. When you make pound cakes, I don't know what the science is behind this, but I do know that you have to incorporate one egg into your mixture at a time. So that's what I'm going to do here. And I blend that until I feel like the egg is nice and mixed in there, but I don't overbeat it. Okay, so now I'm going to put in my salt, my vanilla, and my lemon zest. And it's just a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of vanilla, and I'm just going to go ahead and mix this up a little bit before I add my lemon zest. I'm going to add my lemon zest. Alright. And then I'm just going to take anything that I've got on here and I'm going to scrape it into my mixture, because the more of this stuff you got, the better. I got this at Bed Bath & Beyond, I think, and this is the neatest little thing. Put your lemons on here, and then you are able to juice them, and this holds or collects the seeds. I don't really use that much. I guess you could put it over top of your lemon and twist it. Actually, it might be better on my hands, so I think I may do that. But I'm just going to cut this lemon in half. And typically a lemon will produce 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. When I use this little juicer thing, sometimes I actually get more than 2 tablespoons. And if that happens, I just pour the rest into my water. But let me see how well this. Did a pretty good job, as you can see. This is off of half of a lemon. So I'm gonna do the next one. All right, you can see the seeds that got stuck up in there. And so this is the lemon juice. And I'm gonna pour 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in here. And you can see I still have quite a bit left over. Okay, so I'm getting ready to add the flour to my batter. But before I do this, what I usually do is I just put like a little pat of butter into my baking pan, and I'm gonna stick it in the oven for just a few minutes to get that butter hot. And then I'm going to rub this butter all over the inside of this pan and flour it to coat my pan, so that once I get done with my batter, I can go ahead and pour it into my cake pan and it'll be ready. I'm going to put my flour into the measuring cup with this spoon. And the reason why I don't just go in there and dip it and dig it is because when you do that, you tend to pack your flour down into your cup. And you don't want to do that. You want your flour to be a full measuring cup, but you do not want your flour packed like you would brown sugar or something like that. So I just put mine in with a spoon. It's okay if you get it a little bit heaping, because what you're going to do, try without making a mess, is I'm just going to take my finger and I'm going to rake it over the top lightly to take off any excess flour to even that out. So, well, I got ready to dump that in there. Wasn't supposed to do that. So I'm going to pour this flour in over my sifter. And the more you put in this, the thicker it's going to become. And what I do to kind of keep the flour from flying up when I cut this on is I'll try and kind of like push some of it down into the batter before I start it. And it just keeps you from getting that big old cloud dust that may come up when you start this out. Alright, so that's my batter. Now, I'm going to have a lot of lemon zest on my beaters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these off, and I'm going to have to take my finger and rake this stuff back into my batter because I don't want to lose any of this lemon zest. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this rubber spatula, and I'm just going to kind of like go back through it and just mix it a little bit just to blend in any of the lemon zest that I may have lost on the beaters. Just add it back in. And this is the consistency of your batter. I mean, it's extremely thick. So that's what it's supposed to look like. As you can see, I've got this coated really good now. And you do want to make sure you get this completely coated, because this is what's going to cause your cake not to stick. There's nothing worse than going through all of this and then turn your cake upside down and half of it stay in your pan. Knock on wood, I have not ever had that happen. And so now I'm just going to fill this cake pan up. And I just, you know, drop big glops all the way around it. Okay, so after I get the cake in like this, dropped, then I'll just take the tip of my spatula and just kind of smooth it out so that everything is completely even. I don't mind if it, you know, the batter touches the edges. You just don't want your spoon or your scraper to touch the edge, because then it'll probably like smear off that coating. But I do it all the way around on the outside. And then I'll kind of like work it on the inside. All right, so here is the batter in my cake pan. And I'm going to put this in the oven, and I'm going to bake this for an hour and a half at 325 degrees. I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to clean up the kitchen, and then I'm going to get ready for bed and lay down for a little while. Once the timer goes off, I will take the cake out, set it on the cooling rack. And I usually let it sit on the cooling rack for about an hour, and then I'll take a little scraper and go around the outside edge of this, and then flip it over and let it finish cooling outside of the cake pan. But I will show you all that on the video as well. Okay, so it's morning time now. I did get up in the middle of the night and take my cake out of the oven, and then I laid back down. So it was in the cake pan for 2 or 3 hours before I actually was able to get it out. But that was fine. It didn't cause a problem. It came out perfect. And so now I'm getting ready to make the glaze that's going to go on it. And with the glaze, like I said before, you want your cake to be cool before you put it on it. But you also want to put it on it a little while before you eat it, because to me, I think the glaze tastes a little better, tastes better when it's dried versus being wet on there. So I am going to go ahead and glaze the cake, but I just want to let you know the ingredients that you need for this. You're going to need some powdered sugar or confectionery sugar, of course a lemon, some buttermilk, and that's all. So I'm going to go ahead and whip this up and get this poured onto the cake. Okay, so this recipe calls for about 1.5 cups of your powdered sugar. And this don't have to be exact. And as you whip this up, if it's a little bit too thick for you or not thick enough, you can always either add more powdered sugar or more liquid. But you want it to be a little bit thicker, a little bit thick, because when you spread it on your cake, it's gonna, you know, you just don't want it to be so thin that it runs everywhere. And the buttermilk, you could probably substitute regular milk for half and half, I just am one of these people, I do not like to vary away from the recipe. And the reason being for that is because sometimes when you do, even subtle things can change the flavor of your, you know, whatever it is you're making. I never drink buttermilk, and the only time I buy it is for this recipe, and it only calls for a tablespoon. And so I have to buy, you know, a whole container of buttermilk for 1 tablespoon. Unless I plan on making a bunch of cakes at one time, that's a pretty expensive tablespoon. And I know there's a way to make it with lemon juice, but I don't know. I'm not, I guess, a professional baker. I tried it one time. It wasn't as thick as the buttermilk was, and I didn't think it tasted as good. Now I'm just going to measure out the lemon juice. Mini whipper that I got from Pampered Chef and stir this up. Now you can just use a fork if you don't have one of these. I'm going to try and get as many of the powdered sugar lumps out as you can. If you've still got a few, it's no big deal. So this is the consistency of mine. So you know, it's a little bit runny, but not really bad. Okay, so I'm just going to pour this over my cake, and I'm just going to pour it over the top. I'm not going to try and make it get on the sides really, because it's going to run that way anyway. And you don't want all of your glaze around your cake. You want most of it to be on top. That's the lemon pound cake, and I'm gonna let the birthday girl be the first to cut it, but I will insert a picture at the end of this video to let you see what this cake looks like once it's sliced and the glaze on the top has crystallized a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you give this cake a try. If you like pound cake, you'll love this. I know sometimes people aren't big into lemon. I wasn't either until I ate this, and now I love this lemon pound cake. So anyway, hope y'all have a good week, and thanks for watching. Bye.